Good morning, traders.
Morning.
Welcome back to the Daily Rip. Hope everybody's having a great morning so far. It was a big night last night. We all know Nvidia earnings kicked off, and boy, it was crazy. I will say the chart kind of interesting, kind of back and forth. A little bit of what we saw last time, but they hit it out of the park again with earnings here with a 5.89% beat on revenue. They were looking for a $33.13 billion estimate. They got $35.08 billion revenue there. And then for EPS, they were looking for 75 cents, came out with a 81 cent with that's an 8% increase there. So pretty cool to see from Nvidia. The overall, summary of the earnings call was pretty positive for the most part. I mean, they had record revenue growth, strong data center performances. Their data center revenue reached 30.8 billion, which is up 17% sequentially and 112% year over year. So just awesome there. There were some interesting negatives like supply constraints. Even though Nvidia has strong demand, they're facing supply constraints, particularly in the gaming segment, which may lead to a decline in revenue for Q4. So definitely some things to watch out for, especially again, we have a new president in office coming into the new year, right? That obviously tariffs might play a role into something like Nvidia. So something to watch out for here. But overall, great earnings for Nvidia. I know you were watching it pretty closely, Shy. What do you think
Really?
about everything?
First off, like, do not be fooled by Nvidia's price action after hours. That was a home run earnings. I'm telling you, like, this reaction is just because stocks up 200%. Everyone's worried about the cyclicality nature of Nvidia, and you see semiconductors kind of lagging the past couple months. And like, Nvidia grew into a $4 trillion company, and opportunity cost is at in question. All that stuff is like, I think, pure FUD. If you're bullish on AI, which I believe is still in the early innings, like third inning of the AI ball game, Nvidia has so much runway. Like, why would you get bearish on Nvidia when they just produced beat across the board? And the bearish argument is they didn't beat by enough. Like, okay, fine, whatever. When it dipped to 145 or 140 yesterday, I'm like, it's gonna hit 160 by the end of the year. Like, this is just it,
And just
history
look
doesn't
at the
repeat.
chart now, right? Look at the chart in
Exactly.
pre-market. It's
Oh, it's
it's
up 2%. I even see that. Like, again, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. This is the same story as last earnings from Nvidia, and you saw what happened. Like, you don't sell Nvidia ahead of their Blackwell launch that already got such bullish commentary from Jensen on the call. Like, it's going great. There's no delay. It's sold out. The demand is insane. Uh, you don't sell when that occurs, and I think the Hopper noise. I think the Hopper argument is like what's actually the bearish narrative. But come on,
well, and
it's
I
like
think any of the negatives that I mentioned from the earnings call, right, are they're not these massive headways that I think are something to really scare you out of anything. At least not yet, right? Until we see something that really would scare us, right?
it's legit.
Supply issues are gonna
It's
happen,
poking
but
holes in something that's perfect. It's like going to a
exactly.
five-star restaurant saying, "Oh, the person who filled my water was a little sassy. I didn't like my experience." Like, okay, the food was top notch, the ambiance was top notch. Like, it's just they're poking holes in something that doesn't need to be poked in, and it's just what happens when a company is up 500% in the past like 18 months. So I think this is business as usual. Nvidia is still got a chokehold on the digital economy. Their pricing power is not going away. Did you see those gross margins? Even when the Blackwell launch, it might dip to a low 70%, but it's going to tick back up, the CFO said, to normalization of 75, 76%. This business should not be above 70%. It shouldn't be. That's just not the way it's orchestrated, but it is right now because of NVIDIA's pricing power. Until that gross margin dips lower, but like around 60 to 65%, that's when you start getting worried that, all right, maybe margin is going to start deteriorating and the pricing power is fading. We're still well above 70%. We are fine. And that's my take on Nvidia. I think Nvidia will be the first $10 trillion company. I think it's gonna be Nvidia, Amazon, and Tesla. Tesla's a dark horse in that race, but I think those three companies will be the three biggest companies by 2030. And I think Nvidia will be the first $5 trillion company. I'm very confident in that, but most if I had to put money on a horse, it would be them to be the first $10 trillion company.
I'm with you there. There's a reason that Tesla and Nvidia are 1 and 2 in my long-term portfolio for
Look
top
at
tech
that.
companies, right? So
Yeah.
interesting look at the StockTwits polls here for Nvidia. Things were pretty mixed, pretty even for the most part on all the questions here. But it looks like the majority thought over 160. So interesting
I
there.
mean, it's hard to
The
be
chart right
bearish.
now we're tapping that 150 almost here. So yeah, the price action absolutely beautiful this morning after the bit of an IV crush. I definitely, if you got options, short dated options, this type of move just doesn't. It's not ideal for options, right? At the end of the day, though, I actually traded some NVDL shares last night. I actually lost $1,000, gave back some money that I made from yesterday. So
I
that was
appreciate your
fun.
sacrifice.
Oh yeah, I sacrificed for it. That position would be worth like too much right now, where Nvidia's at. So unfortunate there, but that happens. We went a little degen for the stream after hours there, but that was a lot of fun. We also got. I know you were looking at snow as well. The snow
Listen.
sentiment on StockTwits was very very one sided. But how you feeling about your position there, Shy?
I've never felt as good as I had this
Look at
morning on a
this, up
stock
10%
position.
or more, 81% of people on StockTwits. You need to go find those
Yeah,
people,
where
Shy.
were you
Those are your
guys?
people.
You're just, I'm telling you, I was like the only public bull in Snowflake all year, but apparently everyone was hiding in the caves, just waiting for the stock to recover in order for them to be public about it. Either way, Snowflake was one of the best opportunities in 2024, and I've been pounding the table on it consistently. I think it was one of those case studies on how narrative follows stock price to the most extreme. Listen, I'm an perma AI bull. I think AI is going to transform for years and years to come. If AI is the engine, data is the fuel. Data is what fuels that engine. Snowflake, 40% of the Fortune 2000 customers store their data in Snowflake. How do you not think that they're going to leverage that advantage to become a leader in the AI thematic? They were lagging because of Sloopin, like I mentioned yesterday, but the new CEO, he's launched a ton of AI products this year in the past 6 months. And Snowpark now, their flagship AI product, is now contributing 3% of the revenue. Yes, 3%. It's very minimal. But this time yesterday, I think everyone across the board, FinTwit and even on Kramer was like, Snowflake's not going to be an AI player. All right, well, yesterday proved they actually contributed 3% of the revenue purely from an AI project. And that's just getting started. I think it's so funny. Like, I know the space really well. I've been in it. I know the products across the board in software space. But I have these little amateur people online who got one name right. I'm not going to say what name. You guys can connect the dots. And now they think they're software experts because they got this one name correct, which I also own in my top 3 position. And they're saying that the benefit, I'm just going to say, the benefit of Palantir is at the demise of Snowflake. That's just so freaking false. I was just pounding my head on the wall, and I kept increasing my position in Snowflake throughout the year because my price target on Snowflake is $300 by 2026. How did I get there? First off, Palantir is 3 times as expensive as Snowflake on a fundamental basis, and it's because they have that AI narrative, and it's well justified, and they deserve that premium valuation. But Snowflake was trading at 35 times free cash flow of 2025. That doesn't make sense to me when you see Datadog trading at 50 times. You see MongoDB trading at 70 times for 2025 cash flow. And you also see like Confluent trading at 80 times 2025 free cash flow. They all have similar profiles on a fundamental basis in Snowflake, but Snowflake trading at 35 times when they have 40% of the Fortune 2000 data in their ecosystem. That just didn't add up. And I was like going crazy for months about it. But now I'm glad everyone's realizing they're not a data warehouse company being cannibalized by AI. Quite the opposite. They have a guide path to be the data platform for enterprise AI. So right now, this balance of 25%, this is just the beginning. This will continue throughout the year. I was always worried that this was going to be a tax loss harvesting casualty for the next 6 weeks. game over. This is going to be FOMO behavior to get in this name because it is violently underexposed for a lot of investors. Now the fundamentals are aligning. They finally got the first reacceleration in NRR in 10 quarters. It was just lower, 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 and now there's an uptick of 127%. That combined with their RPO, which is a remaining pricing obligation, is up 55% year over year. 55%. But people are doubting this company as a leader in the AI space and not growing as much as it needs to. That's wild. RPO is growing up 55%. That means people are expected to pay. They have so much in the pipeline that this is going to be a massive winner for years to come. And I do think I kept receipts from all the Snowflake haters who kept doubting them and saying like, "Oh, Palantir is the only player in this space." I'm like, "Come on!" Like I kept the receipts, I really did. And you call me petty about it. It's the one name where like I'm just like I was so frustrated, and I knew it was gonna turn around, and
You
it did.
deserve to be like that on this one. Okay, you do. You
I did.
held
I
out
mean,
on this one.
I did. It was freaking tough.
Shy,
And
you realize you're the only reason I knew about Snowflake like from way back. Like you're the one that introduced me to this stock. So, no, shout out to you, man.
it's
For
gonna be a
sure.
mega
You
cap.
you
I'm
hammered the
telling you, it's
table
gonna be a
on this
mega cap
one.
company.
Yeah, I love it.
Um,
Can't wait to
I,
see
I
it.
will say, fun. I just told you the fundamental story. Now technicals, it's so bullish. They're
Yes.
breaking out. So when you have the combination of a fundamental case and a technical case, it's gonna run. And right now, it's still even after this bounce, it's still down 15% in 2024 when the market's up 25%. It's I'm telling you, like it's gonna run really hard. Like I'm not trimming. I'm actually put some limits on that I want to add more. And like the one at the 200-day SMA is at 145, I think. So if we do get somewhat of a fade, I don't know why we would, because the Nvidia earnings was the last bearish catalyst, in my opinion, for the year. So I think we're got blue skies ahead right now for the end of year rally. I'm going to be adding more Snowflake at 145, but only because it's a 12% position for me already. Like I don't need more exposure. But if the market wants to, I don't know, give me another discount opportunity in this name, like I'm adding a 145 significantly. So it's also one of those few names like when software names and growth tech has run significantly this year, like significantly. Snowflake's a lagger, but they're not a lagger because of their shitco or the thesis is breaking. This was an example of a disconnect from business execution and stock price. Now knowing that disconnect is obvious from yesterday's print, people are going to run in. So I do think I saw that comment, like, is it too late to get in? No, I just said the $300 price target for 2026. That's almost a double from where it is right now. Like
Well, especially
this,
when you look at something like Snow versus a lot of other names in the company, I mean, in the market right now. Uh, I mean, just look at the upside potential on Snow, where we're at on the chart versus, I mean, the whole market, right? The whole market's sitting at all-time highs, where Snow has so much upside potential from where it's come
so
from,
much.
right? So, I definitely don't think it's too late to get in now. Obviously, depending on how you trade, right? You can wait for those technical pullbacks that look healthy, right? Where you can actually be adding on a dip, but at the same time, right? It's like, well, when you zoom out a little bit on this chart and you really look at where we're coming from, I mean, this is not really chasing it. If you ask me, it's not really. You might be chasing the earnings move, right? But in terms, if as long as you have a long term vision for this, I don't think you're chasing prices at all from a long term perspective. So
No, not at all. I do think we're gonna bring up the chart art right now because it's obviously that you have to like I have to look at that every morning. It's like a great way to start the day. I do think MongoDB, ticker MDB, is the next name to watch after Snowflake's outperformance is yesterday's print.
ooh, Target, yeah. I haven't looked at Target this morning, but geez.
Target, I'm telling you guys, like this has all the signs of just not gonna it's not gonna be a great company going forward. Again,
Look at that. Look at those levels we're holding up on chart art there. That
it has
123
to hold
spot
up
is a
here. Yeah.
massive area. You definitely got to hold that area because you see, guys, you see the market structure here, right? It's higher highs, higher lows. If we start to break that structure, what is that telling us, right? It's telling us the market is trying to shift structure from bullish structure to potential bearish structure, right? Lower lows, lower highs, right? We're already actually kind of seeing those lower highs coming into the market here if we end up breaking these levels. So something to watch for on Target. It's at some heavy spots here.
If it violates this line, this trend line, it will go trend towards a psychological level, $100. It just will.
I agree. Yeah,
It's so.
100%. It's a magnet.
Hmm.
Very much so. Those $100 levels, especially when you find stocks around there, whether they're at 90 or 120 where target is, right? You'll definitely see $100 tend to be a magnet most of the time. Of course, not always. Something like Celsius, $100 was definitely a magnet, but it never got there, right? So sometimes it never does get there, but unfortunate. GameStop,
Yeah,
gosh,
I
yeah.
mean
Look at that. The
GameStop.
GameStop has had some beautiful moves lately. I am not a GameStop guy. I really hate GameStop. I mean, we were talking about it the other day. I would actually have a bull case if they were doing a little bit more of what Michael Saylor's doing. But at the end of the day, the chart has been beautiful. I haven't traded any of it. I know some of my trader buddies have caught some of the move. I'm just not much of a meme player, but there's definitely been opportunity there. And if you've been catching it, I mean, hats off to
Listen,
you.
there's no correlation, but if crypto's raging, the market's frothy, GameStop is the vehicle to like
Yeah.
catch some wonky short squeezes. So, like that's right now, it's setting up to similar like short squeeze. Like if you see in the end of May, very similar setup, and it went from what $15 to 60. If Nvidia did deliver, so there's no more bearish catalyst in my opinion for the rest of the year. Things get freaking wonky, and I wouldn't be surprised if like GameStop retests all time. I mean, not all time highs, but the highs in 2024. Like, it's not out of question at all.
It definitely looks a lot stronger right now to me than it has on the previous moves up. But we'll see. We'll see. XPEV, beautiful breakout of that trend line. Trying to back test and retest that area right now. Again, market structure trying to shift a little bit, right? It's been making lower lows, lower highs consistently. We actually started to hold up those lows and try to make higher lows now. And now it's time to start making higher highs, right? We are getting over that lower high trend line. For me, though, I definitely would like to see a real higher high break more over that $20-$21 area. But this is looking decently healthy as long as it holds this area. We're back testing on that trend line, so looking
Yeah.
pretty healthy on XPEV. It's not a name I watch pretty consistently,
It's
but
Chinese EV, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
mean, theoretically, the government is pumping stimulus in the economy. That is going to increase consumer spending. Where's the consumer spending potentially going to go? EVs. I think that's why you're seeing that narrative of that bounce experience in September. That's when all the stimulus that Zhang was like trying to do for the economy happened. And I don't think that's going to go. I don't think that's a short-lived strategy from the government. I think it's going to continue going forward. So XP EV has some opportunity to run, especially if it holds this level. But yeah, let's now that we talked about the daily charts, let's see the newsletter, the Daily Rip newsletter.
Reminder, guys, if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. There's a ton of people that are subscribed to this newsletter,
So listen,
so you
there's a
definitely want to be
reason a
one of them.
million people subscribe to this newsletter. Just
Yeah,
say that. Like, there's
exactly.
not a million schmucks out there. There's a reason. There's alpha in here. Yeah, I mean,
Nobody
I
wins.
call.
I love that because
Yeah,
with options at least, right? Nobody's really winning. I mean, this move up in the pre-market here might save some positions a little bit. That back and forth price action and after hours just really kills options. So
well,
I love seeing that nobody wins. It's so true on the
it's
option side of
true. Like,
things.
we called it yesterday. Like, the
Yeah.
sellers would be the winners.
Yep.
It's like I don't think they were able to produce good enough numbers to go up 8%, which is what the options are implying. But we already got the pre-read from Big Tech. There's no way it's gonna go down 8%. So like somewhere in the middle, and that's where it's happening right now. But again, Nvidia, that was a great report yesterday. I really am happy about Nvidia's report yesterday, and I do think Nvidia Day was, even though the stock price is pretty muted, like it saved, it gave us enough for this rally we're gonna experience next in the near term. That's all I wanted as well. Like, just don't give us a bear case to buck this rally that we're experiencing. And right now, like
Somebody asked which
58% of the people got it
newsletter.
right.
Somebody asked which newsletter. This is the Daily Rip newsletter. So make sure you guys are subscribed. And then also, Pro Fast Guy, he asked, how will China companies fare with Trump's proposed tariffs? I mean, I personally do think we could see a little bit of a headway there. I mean, I don't know if I remember correctly, but didn't Nvidia pull back pretty good the last time Trump introduced tariffs? I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if I
mean,
remember exactly, but I think there was some downside that came for sure.
I am a little caught off guard with how little the market cares about the potential tariffs that Trump's gonna
At
create.
least right now, it
Right
seems
now,
like
it
the
doesn't.
market does not care about it right now. It might not last. I think coming into the new year, we might see some interesting price action, but at the same time, definitely right now, market just doesn't care. Look at Nvidia right now. It just tariffs are not a concern for the market, at least at this moment.
I mean, Walmart made the commentary this week in their earnings that they expect products to increase in price due to the tariffs, and they're like getting ahead of that. So I think once the CPI numbers start increasing, the narrative of oh, inflation's reaccelerating, Powell's not going to cut rates. There might be a chance he might raise rates to offset what Trump's going to do. That all that FUD, I do think that's going to be pushed to Q1 of 2025, and that is a concern. But right now, the market's not caring. Like the bond market's caring. Bond market's telling us to be worried. Equity market isn't. So there's a disconnect.
Jobless
Um,
claims just came out below expectations,
yeah,
apparently.
look at that. That's Evan right there commenting that.
Yeah, the man. Shout out the man.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's really important, the jobless numbers, because the labor market has been weakening. That's also been the bear case on this rally. Like, if the labor market continues to weaken, like we have an issue, the Fed has an issue. Those were really bad numbers like 2 months ago. That was like it's improved significantly in my opinion since then. So like today's jobless numbers, I wouldn't be surprised if the market reacted positively to that. Let's see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actual numbers were 213,000 jobless versus 220,000
so
expected.
as long as it stays below the expected, I do think that's going to be a major tailwind for the market. Like, all right, labor market's not like spiraling out of control. It's actually stabilizing somewhat or improving a little. So like that's all you can ask for, especially to buck that narrative of labor markets weakening.
We also have some more data coming out into the morning, 10 o'clock Eastern. We have U.S. existing home sales as well. So watch out for a little bit of volatility 30 minutes into the market opening there.
Hmm.
Some Fed speakers today as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Also, Bitcoin back
oh,
at
we might get
100,000.
100K Bitcoin.
Hello,
Jeez,
good morning.
what's that right now?
Let's take a look. 97.5.
We're gonna
We
get
hit
there.
about
We're gonna.
98.3 there in pre-market this morning. That is just outrageous. Wow. Bitcoin.
So, do you think it's gonna be a sell the news event though? Once it hits that psych
I mean,
level of
it's a huge
100K?
psych level. No matter what, I don't like whether or not we get through it. I think we definitely could get through it, but no matter what, I definitely think we see rejection off of that area initially, right? It's just such a massive psychological level, and I feel like so many people are waiting to maybe take some profits there, have orders set. But I also feel like there's a lot of orders set to buy just above 100K to really keep pushing this thing higher. So
Well,
I don't know there, but I just know psychological levels are big, and 100K is 100K, man. And I can't in good conscience think that we won't get some rejection there until I just see it blow off the top through it. So
I mean, I think it's gonna happen Sunday. First off, dream scenario would happen. Like looking at this poll, when it's gonna hit 100K, I would hope it's gonna be Sunday afternoon. And why is that? I think it sets the tone of next week, especially on a shortened Thanksgiving week. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving next week. Yeah, Thanksgiving week, where risk on trade is going to continue strong, especially if you see crypto raging Sunday night. It's going to get the appetite going for a lot of the risk on trade to start the week next week. So I hope it doesn't really happen today because I feel like the weekend's going to fade that move, in my opinion. And I would love them to like kind of break out on Sunday. And it looks like everyone, 60% of people, 2,000 people, over 2,000 people think it's going to be today. So uh, hopefully I'm right and everyone else is wrong because I do think it'd be bullish if we don't hit 100K before the weekend. We hit it at the end, but either way, it's you can't get bearish on crypto honestly right now, especially in the setup we have. It's it's one of those things you can't miss out on.
yeah, I mean, and you just look at where we broke out of on a yeah. I like to look at a monthly chart on Bitcoin. I remember.
MSTR is above 500 now.
Oh yeah. I remember that hit. That
That's
that hit it.
crazy.
Yep, crazy. That means MSTU is just well over a 10x in less than 3 months. That is just. I've truly never seen something like that fast. Oh wow,
I mean, I
it's
still
over
think
three
it's a
hundred dollars
Ponzi.
here. MSTU. It closed 256.
Wait, so what's MSTU's performance since it launched 2 months ago now?
Um, since launch to where it's at right now, it's like 1100%, a little over.
Jeez.
That's outrageous. It just
Do you own any crypto?
no, I don't. I'm not a big crypto guy. I do own like ETFs that are tied to crypto, but I don't own any actual crypto
That
personally.
surprises me for some reason. I thought you'd be
I
first
know.
off. Maybe
The
it's because
young
I'm
guy, I know.
generalizing you
Everybody's
a
super
little.
surprised when I say that. It's not that I don't believe in it, but it's also that I'm not ready to jump at it yet when it's not needed to be a part of my daily life at the moment. Now, if our financial
True.
system does switch over to that, that's what I'm gonna have to do. And
I'm
maybe I'm missing out on some killer prices. It's very possible. At the end of the day, for me, it's the argument of every time I have some good money I would like to put in Bitcoin, I have stocks that I'm looking at that I would rather put my money there and look for the opportunity there, such as Tesla, right? Obviously, Tesla, Bitcoin, they're both ripping, right? I could have done great on both of them either way I went. But either way, Tesla, something I can truly believe in and like stick my guns out for and be behind, right? Because there's an actual company there, and obviously there's no company within Bitcoin, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But for me, I need to see more. I need to see more regulation and more certainty, I guess, that this is really going to be a part of our financial system. Again, though, that doesn't make me a bear. I'm not saying I'm bearish
No.
at all. It's
There's
just it's tough for me to be an owner. I did own some Bitcoin at one point, but it's just for me to sit and hold with. It's tough.
You need
Of
that
course,
conviction. Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
need
need
the
that
conviction.
conviction, and of course, like yes, I could be diversified and throw a little bit in there. At the end of the day, it's just again every time I'm like, oh, I have some money to throw in Bitcoin. I'm like, I'd rather throw that in Tesla. I'd rather throw that here. I have companies waiting for me, that I'd like to invest in. So that's a hard thing for me, and it's definitely something that I have to maybe raise the question about in the future. Like if things really are switching over to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, that's a big decision I'm gonna have to make here in the future, right? So something to think about, especially with crypto. Bitcoin almost hitting 100,000 here. It's something to think about, but still not an investor or a
Well,
holder.
let's talk about an industry that's not doing too great right now, which I think is just more FUD and it's being oversold. It's biotech. Like we clearly in a Trump-led presidency after he won, it's crypto and tech. That's kind of like benefiting the most from his victory, but his nominees for all the appointments he's doing for a lot of these key segments of the government, it's not doing great for biotech. There's a lot of fear in XBI specifically, where you see that trend. Uh, XB as in boy. You see that trend. Like a lot of people are just like worried that RFK Jr. being that appointee is just like gonna remove a lot of the necessary vaccines that a lot of these companies make, or everything's gonna be more pure. It's gonna be less pills, less vaccines. Like yes, I agree. Like I will. That would be nice. It would be nice, but that's just not how historically, because U.S. has like gone by, and I don't think one person can disrupt like decades of how things are have been like, especially when the amount of money that big pharma has, is the lobbying they're gonna do. That's why I think this fear that we've experienced, like it went down. Look at that. It went down 15% in a month. Like that's a significant number for an XBI ETF. Like I think there's a lot of opportunity in this sector if you're looking of like, oh, you just got your end of year bonus and you're trying to use that cash to invest in the market. Where do you allocate that? For me, I'd be very worried about getting into crypto at this level or tech at this level because it's been running. It's at close to all-time highs on both segments. Like I look for the opportunity that's maybe getting punished for something that's a narrative that's not fact-based, and that is biotech. There's a lot of opportunities within biotech, and that's why we kind of have a special guest today that we wanted to bring on to kind of create that narrative, to kind of pick his brain on one of the more interesting elements of biotech. But yeah, we have Jason Sawyer who's joining us right now. He's the head of finance and M&A, seasoned venture capitalist. He's worked over 20 years across Access Alternative Group, and AAG has driven more than 5 billion in capital placements under his leadership. So love to have someone with his expertise in venture funding, capital formation, and like strategic M&A to join our episode because we want to pick his brain about what's kind of happening in the space. But good morning, Jason. How are you doing?
Good morning, guys. Great to be here. Doing well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, welcome, welcome.
Doing great, doing great.
Appreciate, appreciate it.
I will say he was very gracious enough. Like he gave us some of the product that we're about to talk about right now. Cheers.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you can see Shai's is very green. You can't really see mine. It looks like water because I'm on a green screen, but I got the same one Shai's running with, and this is my first taste. So let's try it out. Let's see.
No, it's really good. It's what
Well,
was
it's
it?
my first
No, it's
time seeing the
delicious.
green screen effect.
Yeah, no, it's citrusy. I think that's the flavor, right? It's citrus something. I forget
Clear-eyed,
exactly.
clear-eyed citrus.
Clear-eyed
It's a
citrus.
country music song
Delicious.
title in the future. I'm telling you, like it's how
I,
do you
I
forget that
have
name?
little, I have little doubt once we're fully out there in the market, there'll be a country song written about it one way or another.
All right, so Jason, give us the elevator pitch of the company right now.
Well, first of all, great to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm head of finance for Quantum Bio Pharma. My background is 30 years in venture capital and alternative investments. And so even at this point in time, fully engaged as I am, I'm still looking at probably five new venture level or early stage growth opportunities on a monthly basis. Just through that established network, Quantum BioPharma is a Toronto-based R&D company, and we have two major platforms. We're a NASDAQ-listed company, as you can see, and we have two active platforms right now in drug development and in Unbuzzed, which you just tasted and is typically used for rapid alcohol detoxification. So I'm not going to ask any questions. You tried it on the air and appreciated and enjoyed the flavor. You probably would have noted right away, aside from tasting great, it definitely tastes like there's some substance to this formulation. And we'll talk more about that as we get into Sally Nutrition, Quantum's spin-off of this fantastic rapid alcohol detox product. But we are predominantly an R&D company. Innovative drug development is our specialty.
No, I mean, first off, I had a little too much wine last night celebrating the Snowflake earnings, so like this is kind of a perfect product for me this morning. Like
Yeah,
coffee
bright and
wasn't doing
early
me
too.
justice.
We're on the West Coast, so gotta get the detox in, you know.
Yeah, but Jason, I do want to address the elephant in the room. I did mention this leading up to like you hopping on. Biotech has been suffering specifically. It's past couple weeks, but also like it hasn't been doing as great this year. So I know the stock has had a challenging run this year, down 90+%. I view that at more as a macro reason because just biotech, the first half of this year it was getting penalized for the high interest rate environments, and biotech is going to be suffering from that. And now, twofold, that's more recent than last couple weeks. It's because of Trump's appointees on who's going to be running certain business segments of the government, and that's affecting biotech. So it's been a tough year for you, for the sector, and I think that's one of the reasons why the stocks might be down 90+%. But curious on like how you started the business since joining around August 2024, and like what your perspective is on like the stock being down. Do you also agree it's more macro based than company specific?
Yeah, it was a really obvious opportunity for me because of my background. But let me talk about that for a second. First of all, you're right on the macro front. There's no question about that. As you know, these things are cyclical, and you guys have been talking about software, Bitcoin, tech. Obviously, the Trump effect here. But from a macro perspective, from a markets and sectoral perspective, biotechs are down. I think a lot of people think that's changing now for a number of reasons. On a macro basis, just the overall thought process that markets are going to take shape in a different way going into 2025, and the tide will bring up all boats. In Quantum's particular situation, I'm going to mention this, but don't want to dwell on it. the company was manipulated beyond belief. As we know, microcap, nanocaps, especially in sectors that don't have that demand on the bid side. We are at the moment pre-revenue, moving into revenue with the Unbuzz product that we're going to talk about in detail here. But I think the point that the viewers need to take away here is, although microcaps and nanocaps have been systematically shorted, spoofed, counterfeited to death, and when you get those softer sectors, they're going to be the main subject of that onslaught. We've actually done something about it. There are an increasing number of issuers that have just had enough of this. And we filed a $700 million claim against two of the largest financial institutions in North America. And you can see that on our website. You can read the 65-page, I believe it's 65, it's certainly over 60. We're not taking a guess about this. There's no speculation involved as to what happened. And we really want to drive this cause. I would say we're getting maybe 30 calls a month from other issuers that have had enough as well, that are looking at the suit. And most importantly for our stock, because our treasury right now has us positioned to operate this business for the next 3 years. Our lawyers looking at this case took the case on contingency. We are on a non-dilutive basis cashed up to fight this battle. So we saw the stock manipulated for a multi-year period, and we didn't find out until recently. But when we dug in, brought the experts in, we were able to very quickly prove what was going on. We've named 10 John Does as well. So it's going to get interesting, and it's not going to be low profile, I can tell you that.
I mean, unfortunately, that is the name of the game of microcaps. It's one of the low-hanging fruits that short sellers can manipulate. Unfortunately, that has been an easy path for them the past year or two because of the macro environment for small caps. Like, a lot of people don't want to catch a falling knife within the small cap world when interest rates are this high. So short sellers just targeted that, and sometimes people can view narrative false stock price. So people saw the stock down, I don't know, 70+%, assuming it's a company that's going to go out of business. But like you just said, the solvency risk is pretty minimal. You have a 3-year cash runway. Typically on microcaps, like that doesn't. It's hard to find a company. Yeah, it's hard to find a company more than 18 months. You just said you have 36 months. So like the solvency risk is substantially lower than what the stock price might indicate. And I'm glad you brought that up. But I do want to ask you, because I was a very early Celsius shareholder. I did sell earlier this year once I started seeing the growth significantly slow down. But I feel like ever since Monster created their product, like the functional beverage space has innovated rapidly, and that has brought a low barrier of entry because a lot of products are flooding the market. And I live across the street from an Air One. Hate to say it, I'm an Air One subscriber member because it's across the street, so I go there all the time.
Shy. I'm with you. We're LA. That's why.
Yeah, and there's a lot of niche products within the financial beverage space, even at that location. So I was hoping you can tell us a little bit more about the niche that you guys are addressing with this Unbuzz product, and also like that's a great name for exactly what it does. So kudos.
Thanks. There was a lot of mental energy, a lot of mental clarity. Believe me, we were unbuzzed when the team went to work on that one. And I will tie this all into Celsius as well, because what's important to note here is, in our view, there's never been any real science applied to rapid alcohol detoxification. If you're buzzed, if you're overbuzzed, if you're inebriated, intoxicated, etc., how do you get back to that state of mental clarity, full mental cognition, and how do you feel better the next day? And so the R&D team at Quantum went to work on this, and we have a world-class R&D team. We'll get into the other platform later, and the sophistication of our other platform is really amazing. But they went to work on this, and they formulated something that is not only a prehab or a rehab or a hangover cure, but what we've seen and what we're proving right now in a clinical trial that's ongoing, again, emulating the Celsius path to obviously massive success, is that we can bring the blood alcohol content of somebody intoxicated, inebriated, just a little too buzzed, down much faster than the body can naturally do. So the formulation and its combination of ingredients, vitamins, minerals, extracts, nootropics, etc., is specifically formulated to get you from a high concentration of blood alcohol down to a much lower concentration of blood alcohol in 15 to 30 minutes, not in 3 or 4 hours. It's
Whoa.
incredible that it's great for liver function and you'll feel better the next day. But this is actually going to get you unbuzzed quickly and allow you to get back to feeling like yourself again.
Well,
I
so
mean,
what's
listen,
the secret sauce behind that then? I'm curious. Can we ask?
Well, again, in our view, I mean, we see alcohol use. I don't want to make it sound like a bad thing. Obviously, alcohol consumption, a lot of us enjoy it in a number of different ways on the rise. But no one's ever said there is and the research that we have and the estimate, there is $250 billion negative effect in the U.S. alone annually from lost productivity, health issues around alcohol. So the secret sauce, as it were, is a real R&D team going to work and figuring out how to stimulate the two enzymes in the liver, really turbocharging the short-term and long-term metabolizing of alcohol in the liver. And that's it. It supercharges it and ultimately lets your body do it a lot faster. It's a combination of things like milk thistle, green tea extract, vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, amino acids, and again done in a real scientific environment. Nothing like this has ever been brought to market. Currently in a powder stick form, released on Amazon, soft launched at the end of August. And most importantly is kind of our business model here. You guys brought up Celsius. I think a lot of people are familiar with that story because it's a truly meteoric rise. And we are an R&D company. We don't want to spend the money to go and commercialize these things. We're not a CPG company. There are people much better. We're great at the R&D. As a matter of fact, incredible at the R&D. There are people equipped to take a product like this to market. Probably none any better than Jerry David, the former CEO of Celsius, who took it from a shuttered business into that meteoric rise and put the team together that took it to peaking this year at over $20 billion. And Kevin Harrington, who led the influencer campaigns and marketing program. So we spun this off to a team that now is led by John Duffy, a former Coke executive with a great track record in operations in CPG and beverage. And we now have a team taking this to market that has done it before. And the final thing I'll say about that is just like they did, there was low cal and no cal, and they went to negative calorie and proved it in a clinical environment. Our clinical trial's finishing up in about a month to a month and a half with a cohort in the US in a proper randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled trial, just as if this were a drug. And when those results are published and then peer reviewed, we're going to market with something that our customers can know will get them unbuzzed.
Really cool. Really cool stuff, Jason. There. You also mentioned earlier that you're kind of using the same playbook as Celsius. Do you want to talk more in detail about kind of the business and the distribution plan there?
Well, obviously, when Celsius started out, I mean, I'm not a marketing expert, but influencer marketing was a very different thing. When Jerry took over in 2011, and you think about that now, I don't know, watching the fight on Friday night and looking down at that Celsius logo and thinking about how far they've come. Food service, travel, and liquor stores will be the initial thrust of this in 2024. We're coming out with that 12-ounce ready to drink can that you can see there, which has excellent flavor. There was a lot of time put into making sure that clear-eyed citrus was refreshing, and it's something you want to drink after 3 or 4 beers on the golf course to get back to non-golf life pretty quickly. But like Celsius did with their multiple clinical trials, we'll publish that data, and then we're going to start to distribute this in the U.S., obviously targeting, as I mentioned, liquor, food service, travel to begin with, resort destinations, places where people are, more inclined to over-imbibe or just to constantly have a, alcohol experience mindset, and to allow them the opportunity to feel better the next day as well, so they can enjoy the rest of their vacation or get on with work the next day if it's coming off a weekend. But it's that combination of science, Kevin Harrington's incredible prowess in influencer marketing, and all of those relationships that took Celsius into the zeitgeist, and us now doing it with a fantastic product that works and is clinically proven.
You got
I
a
mean,
plan. I love it. Yeah, go for
yeah,
it,
I
Shay.
mean the functional beverage space is really interesting because like Monster has been the best performer in the past couple of decades. You've seen Celsius go up 6,000% in the past 5 years. You just never know when a product can take off, but when it does take off, the velocity of that movement, commercially, sentiment wise, among like generations, it's explosive. And like I found Celsius, girlfriend back then, fiance now, like I was at a sorority party with her and I was like, what's this drink that everyone's drinking? That's when I saw Celsius. It could be an influencer marketing, but I feel like influencer marketing is like young 20s anyway. That's when I discovered it and dug it deeper. I think Unbuzz is like a really interesting niche where, again, sorority parties, like if that's the universal go-to drink the next morning, like, and it allows you to rally enough to go to the tailgate on Saturday from the Friday night party, like it's really interesting as well. And I do want to mention one last comment. I have interviewed John, the CEO from Celsius, multiple times. They have zero interest in getting to the alcohol space, zero nightlife space, zero. They're not going down that path. That's where this niche really is interesting to me because that is an uncharted territory on like the health functional beverage where nothing really exists. Like Red Bull's crap, Monster's shit. Nothing really is like beneficial in that space. And like this is a really interesting niche. But I know we spent a lot of our time talking about CPG angle of the company, and we didn't get like this is just one arm of what Quantum is. So I was hoping you can like also discuss like what the biotech division is like.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just say that we feel our just to recap on Unbuzz, we feel our stake in Unbuzzed after having created this and putting the partnership together with the former Celsius team that took it where it's going. It's when you look at the last story, the one that you didn't mention, Liquid Death, private company, so not a lot of people
Mm.
know about it, but founded in 2019. Most recent valuation for extremely well marketed water in a can, 1.4 billion. So the opportunity to do this and for Quantum's stake in Unbuzz to be huge is something we feel is going to really drive the catalysts in 2025 for this story for our stock. And the biotech division, I can't put too fine a point on the world-class experience of our R&D team, led by Dr. Lakshmi Kotra, professor of medicinal chemistry at U of T. We have a novel, what's called a new chemical entity or a molecule that had never been ingested by a human until we started our phase 1 trials that is unique within the MS or the central nervous system disorder space. And the vast majority of the MS therapies in the market are immunosuppressant, immunomodulating, and they're trying to stop the unraveling of myelin, which is the protective sheath around the nerves in the brain. And when that unravels, just like the deterioration, for example, of the plastic around an electrical wire, this is where the breakdown and the symptoms come from in layman's terms. I'm a scientific layman. And so our new chemical entity, Lucid-MS, patented, and Dr. Kotra's name on that patent, it has been through phase 1, looking at phase 2 in 2025, and has shown unbelievable efficacy in preclinical animal models. If you go to our website, you'll be able to see the effect on a mouse with MS symptoms going from no function in its lower body and tail, not being able to use its hind legs at all, with 60 days of this molecule applied in therapy to full functional recovery. So our objective is to move into clinical phase 2 during 2025. And like all biotech companies that have developed something novel and as impactful and potentially impactful and as important, the value that will come from an efficacy signal in humans, in other words, getting this to work in humans, is immense. It's one of those blockbuster drugs. MS is the focus, but demyelinization is the cause of other neurodegenerative disease as well. So Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, etc. The applications are endless, and we own it.
This is all some really good stuff, Jason. I appreciate all the answers here. Just to kind of shy away from a little bit of this and talk a little bit more about you, I'm curious. a little birdie may or may not have told me that you may be into golf. Is that true?
I don't like to play any more than once a day.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
I,
I'm at the range. I'm playing rounds all the time. So I heard you were open to golf, and I had to ask you about that because I'm down there all the time. So love to
well,
hear that.
it ties right into Unbuzz because as far we've been talking to some of the biggest golf
Absolutely.
course companies in the country, and it is certainly a market for us there with a
Yeah,
few cold beers on the
that's a
golf
massive
course.
market, especially. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like if you get the whole golf community kind of on Unbuzz there, that's a massive community for you guys to tackle. So I think that's
Hey
awesome.
guys,
Yeah.
this has been absolutely awesome for us to get to have this forum to talk about it. I'll just say that when I joined the company had recently reconstituted its cap structure, and as you guys know now, 2 million shares outstanding. This is a low float NASDAQ company, and it's been structured now after everything we've been through so that we can start to bring people in and give them the confidence to invest in this business long term and watch those catalysts take effect, which we think can have, they certainly have the potential to be a massive impact on the stock where there's just not that much available.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna be. Can they develop a drink that takes 10 shots off your score? That would kill. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna need that for sure.
I'm working on that. I'm working on that, believe me.
Yeah, let me know if you ever come up with something like that. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it
No,
just
really
depends.
cool
When you've
stuff
had that
though.
extra beer, you can get unbuzzed quickly, right? When you start duffing those chip shots.
I have a
Absolutely.
feeling a lot of SMCI shareholders are probably going to be using your product in the future
Yeah.
with how the trouble right now they're having.
Seriously.
All right,
Really
well,
good stuff,
Jason,
Jason.
yeah, Jason, thank you so much for hopping on. Like, we love it when we can talk to like influential members who are developing like products that that Jordan and I can use on a daily basis, and like it
Yeah,
is a
especially me
niche
being
that's out there.
22, this is right up my alley. So
100%. Like,
I
he
love
drinks every
this.
day.
Hey now, hey
You
now.
mentioned
Careful.
sorority and frat parties and whatnot. I have a feeling you guys are going to be seeing us around.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
I love it. I love it. It'll make tailgating a lot easier with my hangovers from Friday night. So I appreciate it so much, Jason. Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks very much.
Good
So Jordan,
stuff.
that was an awesome product.
That was a lot of
Jason
fun.
was like a super dope guy.
That was my first time genuinely trying. I didn't even try it before the show this morning. I just let it sit. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get the first reaction on the show. It's actually really good. I was surprised because I'm not a big like supplement drinker for the most part, so I was surprised. I really like it.
Well, I don't want to tell my fiance about this product because like my argument to her is like I'm working the next morning. Like I can't go out on Thursday night. I can't go out Wednesday
No, you
nights.
gotta keep it in secret. Yeah.
I gotta keep it in secret. All right, let's see what's happening in the markets right now. Snowflake's up 25% pre-market still. Love to see it. Nvidia is at 150 now. Okay. It's bumping up to that level. Let's see. It can't break it. Qs are up 0.6%. Trade desk is running. If you guys yeah, I mean risk on rally is running right now. I love to see it.
I got in a meta position yesterday. I had a long trigger off of the previous day high, Tuesday's high there. I got long off that. I actually was trading futures into the end of the day and was not paying attention to my position. It hit a few of my price targets. I did not trim a single contract. So I'll be trimming meta as soon as we get into the open here because we're up even more on this name right now and hitting some price targets. But
I'm so pissed I missed out on meta in 2023. This is like one. This is the
I did
emotional
too
side
in
of
my
me
long
investing.
term. I don't have
Yeah.
it in the long term. It's really just trading the options and the swing trades for me.
I blame Evan from Snapchat. Like I'm telling you, because like I was like, all right, well Zuck very
It
feels like
always
much
comes
like
back
Evan.
to Evan from
Evan.
Snapchat, man.
And we have to get Evan on this, so
We
maybe he
do.
can convince
Oh,
me. I can
that would be
explain some.
awesome.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, I didn't think Zuck had it in him to actually create shareholder value and care about profitability, and that's why it sunk from 2021 to 2023. Was he was infusing so much capital into the lab, the AR and VR lab business that it was just bleeding money, and it was like offsetting the cash printing, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook side of the business. Like, all right, well, this shows very similar signs of like what Evan was in Snapchat. And clearly I was so wrong. He went not just the restructuring of like what the profitability would be like going forward for Meta, like the levers he pulled. He went through a complete PR makeover. Like he looks like I'd get a beer with Zuck now. Like he looks like a dope dude I'd want to hang out with. Like
He went from like this big like corporate guy to like he looks like he's a frat boy and like I could kick it with him, you know? And, like
it's
completely.
wild.
It's
What
he's
a
like a normal
180.
dude now. I'm like, hey,
100%.
we can hang out, you know?
100%. So like I'm like, oh man, I missed out on the opportunity. And now like I think everyone obviously has seen like what Meta's capable of. Like they had an iPhone moment right now, 1 or 2 months ago in the AR VR space, and that's not coming at the expense of like their margins as much as you'd think. And now if you're bullish on AR and VR, Meta is the like top AR and VR play in the game, and they're profitable because of all their other segments of the business. Like, I think that's why this is going to continue catching a bid. I don't know
Well,
what the
again,
ceiling is on Meta because of regulations that are always going to cripple them. Like, they're too powerful. Their social media presence, so, like, they have to essentially create everything in house because everything that they try to acquire will get blocked. I think Unity, ticker U, is a perfect acquisition target for Meta. Like it could not get any more perfect. And Zuck tried to acquire Unity pre-IPO a couple years ago, failed. Unity right now is a turnaround story, and they have a duopoly in the gaming engine, and they have a their tech is really interesting in AR and VR. It would synergize really well with what Meta's trying to do in that space, and maybe in a Trump-led presidency where things theoretically should get deregulated a bit, it's going to be more pro-tech investments. Maybe the acquisitions will be a lot easier next couple of years. And I do think if I'm wearing my CEO hat on as a tech company, knowing that next 4 years might be the golden era for us to kind of scoop up interesting technologies that might get like blocked if a new president comes in town. Like maybe there's a gold rush on dollars being spent on M&A, and that's why I think a lot of like tech companies that are worth under $10 billion. I wouldn't be surprised if they catch a bid, especially when they've been lagging in the
well,
market
look at the price action as of now. I mean, there's so much opportunity for
so
upside
much.
here. It's just we need that market structure to start shifting, which it's trying to right now. I don't see enough for me to be very like overall confident in it, but at the end of the day, when we stop making lower lows and we're starting to make higher lows, right? So market structure's trying to shift a little bit there, and as soon as you get, you have a fundamental thesis, then you get that price
Well,
action running with you. You can make a case for it, So gonna be interesting. I'll be watching Ticker U.
I mean, Ethereum's
Oh,
a name that like, I might run next. Like it's kind of not lagging, but it's not as moving as much as Bitcoin. But
not even
Ethereum,
close, man.
yeah,
You look at a monthly chart and then look at Bitcoin, and it's just two completely different charts here.
yeah. But who knows? Like Ethereum might be like if Bitcoin runs out of steam, like where else would the crypto rally occur? Ethereum second, Solana's third. So like it might be Ethereum's turn next go around. And yeah, I mean, Spy is like, it's catching a bid pre-market. Like we're about to open in 2 minutes.
Yeah, we're about to open
Again,
up. Let's
we're
see.
gonna get above 600, I think, by this week
We already
on
filled
Spy.
that gap that we have on the daily here up to 592.70. We're at 593.44 here. I think we get a push up to that
Ooh.
594.50 at least. That previous day, that's that Tuesday low from November 12th. So I'd like to see
I
us
don't
hit
know
that.
if this is why it happened on the stream, but I said, what's the next name to run after Snowflake's earnings? MongoDB. Pull up MDB right now. It's
Oh
up
boy!
9% pre-market. I'm
Wow.
telling you, like this is the next name
God,
that's gonna
Shai's a
run.
fortune teller. Look at this guy. Snow, Snow, and now MongoDB. What's going on?
This is the
This
next
is
name that's
crazy.
gonna run. It just makes too much sense. I will say the fundamentals isn't as enticing as Snowflake, but if you're looking for high quality laggers in the tech space for AI thematic, MDB is the next name to run, and they're reporting in 2 weeks. So like, I'm not surprised they're catching a major bid. Technically speaking, let's see what they need to clear 310. That's a huge level for them. That's their 200 day SMA. So they've not been over that since March 2024. It's been in stage 4 breakdown on their charts. So if they can clear that 310 level, this name runs hard. It's a consumption business model. It's like clients pay as you go. And if my thesis for AI is data is about to explode, and to the extent that a lot of enterprises don't know what to do with that data, but they know they have to do something, they're just going to overpay. It's very similar to what big tech's doing on hardware now. Google,
Market's open.
Microsoft. Oh, it's open. Oh,
It
let's
just
see. All right.
opened up. I'm
Snowflake.
selling. I'm taking trims on my Meta because I did not yesterday.
Oh my
I
God,
just
my
sold half my Meta into the
account
open
just
there.
hit an all-time high. This is awesome.
That's over $300 a contract gain on the 580 December 27th contracts that I bought yesterday. So just overnight there. Looking good. It's a beautiful morning so far.
Wow.
I sold half. Basically, I'm holding 7 contracts at 16%. That's almost $400 a contract now.
Snowflake's up 26%. MongoDB is up 10%. Nvidia's above 150.
Let's
It
go.
broke through.
Well, gosh, it's going to be a beautiful day. Everybody, yeah, Austin, trade safe, everybody. Make sure you guys are following your rules. Play your plan, as always. Wow, Meta. Meta just made up for the $1,000 I lost on NVDL last night. Thanks, Meta.
Today's gonna be a great day.
This is going to be a great day, guys. Oh, NVIDIA 150, 150. Oh, my gosh. Ripping.
Wow. This is, again, don't let that after hours price fool you. I said that was a dominant quarter. It was a dominant one.
Wow.
Wow. All right. Well, I think we gotta hop off. We gotta tune in tomorrow morning. It's gonna be a wild day. Again, thanks Stock to its Nation for joining us. We're almost one full week in.
Yep.
A lot of fun, and the market's raging right now. Let's
my
go.
God. Hey, appreciate everybody. Have a great day. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, subscribe to all the newsletters, and we'll catch you guys bright and early in the morning.